Uber has been promising for weeks and for weeks that they would get the PPE, the protective gear, to the drivers, but nothing is arriving. This is all just BS. An hour ago, I was on the phone with Uber attorneys, and I hammered them on this issue. I said, you guys just make empty promises all the time. You say that the PPE is going to arrive, and still weeks later, nothing. Right? That's just reckless, idiotic behavior by these attorneys and by Uber. Let's listen to what this lady has to say here.
In Los Angeles are demanding that the companies follow city-issued orders to provide personal protective equipment to keep them safe while they're doing their jobs. I'm Derek Kerr with CNET in San Francisco, and joining me now are Mike Long with the Service Employees International Union 721 and Jerome Gage, a Lyft driver. Mike, can you explain what's going on?
So last week, the city of Los Angeles issued a worker protection order stating that employers of essential workers, folks like grocery workers or rideshare drivers, would be required to provide personal protective equipment for those workers who continue to work through the pandemic. Unfortunately, Uber and Lyft have failed to do so, and as such, drivers are sounding the alarm, asking for the city to step up and make sure that these companies follow the ordinance.
Yeah, so Jerome, you're out there, you're driving, you're on the street. Can you explain a little bit what the situation is like being a ride-hail driver right now?
It's scary. It's very, very scary. We're ride-share drivers like myself. We are at risk to contracting the coronavirus, spreading it to other passengers, infecting their families, and we understand the risk, but we don't have the protections that Uber and Lyft should be offering us as employees of the company. Recently, AB5 passed, and we're supposed to be employees, and we're supposed to be given protections such as paid sick leave and health insurance. But since we don't have that, we're in a position where we have to make tough decisions for ourselves as to whether to stay at home and self-isolate or go out there and attempt to earn as much money as we can for our family to make it through this crisis.
Mm-hmm. And just to add, AB5 is a law that passed in California that could require the companies to make their drivers employees, which would provide them much needed benefits.
Right.
Yeah.
Right now we're being misclassified as independent contractors. So that passage of the law was an enormous victory for Lyft and Uber drivers like myself.
This isn't just a Los Angeles issue. If either of you could speak to this, this is really happening to Uber drivers around the world right now, since the pandemic is a worldwide issue.
Oh, absolutely. And we've seen businesses step up their game. We've seen businesses all over and work with governments in order to keep their communities safe. We've seen, workers with Amazon and Walmart, they enacted all of these policies to protect their customers, their employees, and things like that. But we have not seen the same things from Uber and Lyft. Despite the recent mayor's order for employers to provide equipment to employees, we haven't seen anything like that from Uber and Lyft, and it's disappointing. It's disappointing.
It's more than
drivers
disappointing.
Like myself sacrifice so much for this company, and to see them not make any effort for the bare, to do the bare minimum, such as like providing masks, that's unacceptable.
Unacceptable.
So we're calling on, the city attorney to start enforcing that, enforce it, make them, commit resources to help fight this pandemic.
I'm going to add that I've spoken to both Uber and Lyft, and they've told me that they're working to get out supplies to drivers, but because of the high demand for such supplies, that it's often hard to fill those requests from drivers.
the sad thing is here that other companies are doing it. Uber believes, they don't have to do it, or they're making excuses as to why the product is not arriving. So gear to protect drivers from the coronavirus is in short supply. The company says it's having a hard time getting needed items to drivers. Uber said it was shipping tens of millions of face masks to drivers 2 weeks ago. The ride-hailing giant said it would prioritize full-time drivers working in the cities hit hardest by the novel coronavirus, like New York and Los Angeles. Then it would continue to deliver face coverings to drivers in other cities around the world. For the most part, however, those masks have yet to materialize. There's nothing there. I have not heard from a single driver that these people have stepped up and delivered. Driver groups in Los Angeles and New York say they haven't heard of their members receiving these supplies. A spokesman for the Independent Drivers Guild, which represents 200,000 drivers in the New York area, said one of its drivers have reported getting masks. None of its drivers have reported getting masks. So step it up, Uber. You're so far behind. You're so fast asleep. You're only thinking about yourself. You've made promises you cannot keep. Get your act together.